so great-grandfather, Edmund Fitzgerald, bought the farm from Haynes Morgan Jr. in 1803. Fitzgerald married a Stone. Stone married a Nuckols. My family's been here and farmed all this time. The house behind me is the second house that was on the farm, I understand. It was built in 1828 by a family lord. My children are 7 generations to live in the house. The first one here lived in Chaco, and he bought this farm from Haynes Morgan. So I understand it was a land grant to Haynes Morgan. And old Edmund, bought it in 1803 and gave it to his son as a wedding present. Edmund II built the house. Well, built a house, the first one burned. And then this is the second house that was built in 1828.
Where was the first house? The same location?
We don't know. The graveyard is out behind the house, so we assume it was the first house was here. We don't know. Supposedly drove a herd of hogs to Kentucky to sell and brought his wife back. She was Mary Cook, and she never went back to Kentucky. That's the family story, that he drove a load of hogs to Kentucky and brought his wife back. Behind us here, and then there are 3 more on the other side of the farm, and then I have 3 more on another farm that I own in Renan. That was my daddy's family farm.
Oh, wow. And you think these are the oldest ones?
These are definitely the oldest ones. And both of these barns are 6-room barns, and that is unique. I don't know of any other 6-room barns.
Mm-hmm.
This one is a 6-room log barn with hewn logs. The other one is a 6-room post-frame construction. It's built exactly like my house. The same corners, the same bracing, the same wooden pegs. It's built exactly like the house. And sometimes later somebody dug a pit under that one. And my grandpa said that they each held 1,200 sticks of cut tobacco. Most 5-room barns were 600 to 800 sticks. These were 1,200 sticks. And these barns each had 3 fireboxes, which most barns had 2 fireboxes. But these big barns had 3. And each one of them, the tops are not like that anymore, but the roof plate was out wider than the barns. And then it had a 12-12 roof on top of it with wooden shingles. And my grandpa, who was born in 1897, Fred Stone, cut the tops down in the 1930s or 40s and put tin roofs on them.
Really? So he made it shorter then, really?
Yes, and he changed the roof design because the roof plate where the rafters joined the barn was out wider than the wall, all the way around. So that gave it a lot more volume.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And it had tiers all the way up in the top. This is the log barn. My grandpa called it the prize barn and I grew up not knowing what the prize barn meant. You can see that it was daubed with mortar instead of mud. And I always thought it was the prize barn because it was a fancy barn. But he told me no, that the equipment here to put tobacco in a hogshead, they prized the tobacco into the hogsheads at this barn. And that's why they call this the prize barn.
So how wide do you think that is? Over a foot.
About 14 inches of that one. This one is about 16 inches. And they're hewed down to 8 inches wide. And as I said, they were daubed inside with mud, but the outside had mortar. These joists sticking out, these plate logs set out on them. So the roof was out at least 2 feet larger than the barn all the way around. And I'm sure it was, they had board shingles on them, and I'm sure it made a very difficult top to maintain. And so when Grandpa cut them down, he said he did this one first, and he cut the rafters too short. And it made the top really flat. And then he did that one, and he did a better job on that one. Was in the log barn. Because I think this was probably built at the time of my house. Because it's built same construction. Oh, what a mess. That's a good view of that corner with the light on it.
See if I can zoom in up there.
And it is I think it was a 12 by 12 with a 6 by 6 V'd out of it. And then, and the 12 by 12 is hewn, it's not sawed. And then they hewed the 6 by 6 out of the corner of it and mortised all the braces and wall pieces into that corner.
And your house is made like that too.
Yep. And you can see the wooden peg in this one right here. See, it goes straight up. See that little peg right there?
Yeah.
And you can see the wooden peg in this corner over here where the knee braces. See those pegs? And you can see the vertical saw marks. See? On that. And I don't see that's mortised in.
This really did some talented people here.
They really did. They did some work.
And what are these for?
Oh, that was what they put the sticks in. That held a stick. And
Well,
lots of log barns have those in them. Put a stick in it to either strip the tobacco. I even got the tool here to make it with.
Oh, wow. That was to make those holes?
That is, yes, to make these holes in these. It's perfect, see? It might have been the one that drilled the hole.
That's great. And they would put the sticks in there while they were...
Either to hang tobacco on or to strip the tobacco off the sticks. They're usually by the doors. And I don't, see there are two there, and then there's two on each side of these doors. It's the floor, they dug a pit under it in the early 1900s. And they put a floor in it, and they quit curing it. They used it as a packing barn.
Okay.
But yes, it was a curing barn at one time.